As human beings, we are both blessed and cursed to be able to experience all-consuming emotions, from pure love and joy to the immense sadness we feel when we lose someone we love. Our emotions are powerful. Have you ever felt the piercing stare of a foe from across the room? What about the pulse of electric current you feel when you're in the midst of a whirlwind romance? Emotions are energy, and energy is power. Where does our grief go when we finally decide to release it? The transmutation of pain has been a common motif across all art forms and throughout the history of art, as art has been used as the medium of healing. But what if all these emotions released by the artist live on in the piece, trapped until they can be released into their next form? Today we talk about loss, coping as artists, and paintings who may still hold the sufferings of those who created it. Do you think paintings can be haunted? Welcome to Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. I'm Weetsy.
And I'm Sam Ivy. And welcome.
And this is episode 40!
40! Woo, 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 woo. Bye, 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 bye. We did it. We hit episode fucking 40.
And it's honestly like probably 44 or 45 because in the beginning I was like, let's throw a bonus here. Let's throw a bonus here. Because we were trying to like build up our library. And we should probably maybe maybe we can try to throw out a bonus in honor of the 40th episode.
That'd be fun. Maybe like do read some of the viewers like submissions or something, and
that's a good idea.
Family story time.
If you're listening right now and you are somebody who listens frequently, would you please email us at wrupodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media and tell us any story you want.
Any story, whether it's something we've talked about, whether it's something you want us to talk about, something you've experienced, family story time.
Yeah. And the first one we had, I think when you weren't here, right?
Yeah,
so it was just me, right?
You read like 3 stories.
Yeah, they were good.
They were really good.
So cool. So yeah, there's, I think, a couple submissions for family stories so far, but it would be really cool if after this episode we got more. Then we could just do a whole next bonus episode. It won't take away from what we're already doing. It'll just be a bonus as a, hey, holy cow, 40 episodes, and in 2 months, it'll be a year of doing this.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. So, we're probably going to launch a Patreon sometime in the future because Patreon just announced that they are preventing AI crawlers and AI tech, or like basically they're preventing AI from using the material uploaded to Patreon to train their AI bots. So we could post a lot more stuff there, like our faces and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we could put the videos, because every time we record, we have videos. We just don't post them anywhere. Because I don't want my face. Like just recently, I've just not posted my face. I just posted a story on my regular account today, and I don't have my face in it. It's a video. Yeah. I chop my face. Like I just don't have my face in it. So I don't want AI being trained using my face. So that's nice to know that we could upload there. And then, there's a little bit of an incentive, and then we're able to make some money through the podcast to get better equipment for the podcast, like actual mics. My mic down here is okay. But it'd be cool
to maybe get like proper lighting stuff and,
Yeah. And better equipment where we could make videos and create more content. That's the whole point of it. And I think we have enough people who listen to where,
consistently.
yeah. So it's something that we're working on. So stand by for that. And if there's anything that you would like to see or learn about or listen to, or I don't know, anything that you would like, you can reach out and let us know too, because thank you just for supporting us. And if you're
Yeah, for
tuning in
40
for the first
episodes.
time, 40 episodes is crazy. And if you're tuning in for the first time because the title caught your attention, welcome. We are best friends who met in art school, and this episode is about art, kind of,
Yep.
and grief. So, something we've bonded over a lot. Um, so yeah, Sam's had
Had a
another
hell of a week.
kind of, I feel like maybe last week we jinxed it because we said it's been a hell of a 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And then you proceeded to have the week that you had. So, do you want to kind of talk about that and we'll jump into the topic today?
Yeah, no, it was, you know, people in your life come and go as you get older. And this past week, I had my great grandmother pass away. She passed away very peacefully, but it was, she was on hospice care, so it was a lot of hands on with me and the other lion women of my family. So it's me, my mom, my aunt, my grandmother, round the clock care every 4 to 2 hours, giving her medicine, making sure she was comfortable as possible. And like we were all around her when she took her last breath. So it was really hard on the mental, and me being as empathetic and empathic as I am, I feel the energy, it's draining, but we were there, we supported each other. And in all of the bad, I have made so many good memories, like when it came to just like sitting around bullshitting with family and getting to know them on deeper levels and hearing stories that you never got to hear growing up and finding out things about your great grandmother that you didn't know, like all the nicknames she had or the fact that she was a cheerleader in the drama club and, X, Y, and Z other things.
That word of mouth storytelling that we've mentioned before, I think when we did the episode where I interviewed my grandma, which I will post more of that later, but um the word of mouth storytelling, like the things that you lose if you don't ask those questions, and so to be able to come together as a family to say goodbye to your great grandma, first of all, what an honor to get to say goodbye to your great grandma. There's so many people who never meet their great grandparents, let alone,
And let me just put it
get
out
to,
there, she was 90 years old, turning 91 this month. So she lived a
yeah,
life, and we
yes,
definitely
that's
celebrated
awesome.
her. And while I was there, I could definitely tell, like, in my heart of hearts, like, I feel like my family in a past life, especially the women, were part of a coven. Like, the energy was just strong. All throughout the time of, like, her slowly, declining and going into the afterlife, there were different signs that she was getting visited by people, like whether certain songs came on the radio that remind us of our past loved ones, or you get a random smell of flowers, a random smell of garlic, the lights would flicker, or, you get the goosebumps, like, you felt the presence of something.
Like, they were really specific though, right? Like, wasn't there one song that, like, your
Yeah,
grandma Shirley.
so for me, and it's really ironic because I didn't realize the connection. Because, like, yeah, like, I knew, like, my great-grandparents knew each other, my grandparents knew each other, but because of me. But
Yeah,
while I was there, the song "Me and Bobby McGee" by Janis Joplin came on, and my grandfather's name was Bob Carpenter, so, like, Bobby, and it was one of, like, my grandmother's favorite songs. I love me some Janis Joplin. So, like, that was
yeah.
my way of knowing that she was there, but I was like, "Why is she? Is she there just because like, my energy is pulling her?" Come to find out, like, Friday night or Saturday night, I think it was Saturday, I was going through my grandmother Tammy's boxes of pictures, and I came across one of my mom's baby shower that she had at Duff's house, and there was a picture of my grandmother Tammy, my grandmother Shirley, like young Shirley, so my dad's mom, my great grandma Duff, and then my great grandmother Anna, which is Tammy's mom, and they never stood in pictures together. But I had all of them in one picture, and I about
That's
busted out
crazy.
into tears.
Oh my gosh. So they knew each other.
Yeah, like my grandmother like was at Duff's house at some point. It was there when I was still in my mom's womb, like shit that I didn't even know. So it makes sense why
Wow.
she was visited, you know.
Whoa. And that's like the crazy thing when you compare, or like if it was like one thing that seemed like a coincidence, okay. But multiple things and things like that that make connections, validate things, that's
It was
That's
weird. Yeah, like,
crazy.
it was very once I like I said, when I saw the picture, I almost busted out in tears. I got goosebumps. I was very emotional to it, I would say. And
Yeah.
then it got even stronger when after Duff passed, me, my mom, my aunt, my grandma, and our cousin Missy all stood around her, held hands, and did a silent prayer. Well, I'm not super religious, so I really don't know many prayers other than like the blessing of like your food type prayer that you do. And like the
Yeah.
Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, like that type of shit. Um,
Right.
so I just, like, thought in my head, like, sending nothing but, like, love and energy around the circle and, like, good vibes and, like, send like, I did, like, my own, like, little personal one. But I shit you not, while doing it and everybody holding hands, like, my hands got warmer, like, I felt, like, the electricity, like, in the circle, like and it was for a very short period of time, but it afterwards, I was like, "Yeah, we were recovering."
That's you gotta think, like, invisible energy, emotions, everybody the things that you guys are feeling, the grief, you were transmutating your sadness into love and support, and you guys, like you built this energetic circle. Like, energy cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created or destroyed, it just is. And
Yep,
so our energy emits a frequency. So that's why you can feel when somebody's staring you down, or when you feel like somebody's following you, it's because they're emitting a frequency. And we are
mhm,
like radios. And so all of you guys you're these charged radio towers, right? And you have an event happen that charges the power circuit. And then all of you guys, you're related, and your feminine energy. And so that's just building and building and building into these freaking just portals of energy, not portals, but like balls of energy that you guys then connect into a ring. That's power. That's
yeah, you
witchcraft.
felt
That's
it.
magic. Yeah, and it's just you transmutating that pain and
And it's
sorrow.
wild too because we talking about, like, energy not being created or destroyed. Duff did not officially pass away until my mom put the ashes of her son, Mike, so my uncle Mike, next to
Yeah.
her, and then we found her dog Jumper's ashes too, and put that by, like, the feet of her bed, and, like, not within, like, 5 minutes later did she pass.
You had one at her like
Her
the
favorite
it almost
dog and her son right
yeah,
there
but
with
also
her.
at the crown and at the base. So like her
Mhm.
whole like she was surrounded. Like there's something very ceremonial about that. And they were in urns.
Yeah, like, one was in,
Like,
like, a little necklace, and the other one was in, like, an actual
oh,
box.
that just feels like an ancient ritual of goodbye.
And she had,
Gosh.
like, her rosary in her hand that we bought her, and it was jasper stone in it and some other
Mm,
stones.
wow.
Yeah, it was a
Did you
very
feel anything different, like, the moment she passed? I know this is hard to talk about, and I'm so sorry.
oh, no, you're
Um,
good. Like, it was kinda similar with Shirley, like, you could tell when the soul is left. Like, you could tell when her pain was gone, when, like, that last breath was taken, it was sad, but it was okay, she's out of pain now, and, like, she is with the ones that she needs to be with. And we'll meet
yeah,
again one day. We talked many a times, me and my family, about, like, the act of reincarnation and, like, the fact that the tragic part and the sad part, what we are doing and we are seeing is harder on us than it is on her because of her being on the morphine and the drugs. She's actually not in pain. Her body's doing what it's supposed to do when it comes to it just shutting down. It's just hard on us still living to see.
yeah,
And the fact that when you do pass, DMT is released into your body, it might look like a quick second for us, but it is a whole travel journey for her where she felt nothing but euphoria and happiness and vivid colors, and that's what I like to think about.
yeah, yeah, and, she's wherever she is, she's no longer suffering, and we don't
And
know what happens after.
and she also, was suffering with dementia for years too, so her mind was slowly
Mhm,
going. So, like, even if her body was able to still kick it, like, that is one of my greatest fears, is to physically
for
still be
sure.
able to do stuff, but mentally not there, and vice
Yeah,
versa, because it's one or the other.
yeah, or both.
Yeah, or both.
So, um, I just wanted to go back really quick to when you said, "Oh, you thought it felt like you guys were part of a coven."
Yeah.
Uh, well, we talked a little bit yesterday, and you had mentioned you had mentioned
Duff's maiden name?
Duff's, yeah, 2nd.
You know, Duff's maiden name, actually, when we were going through, like, all of her, like, high school yearbooks and some of her college yearbooks, 'cause she went to college in Townsend for teaching, it showed that before she married my grandfather, Phil Bailey, she originally last name was Putman, and my mom and them just kept saying Putman, 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 and I'm like, "This sounds so familiar," and I'm like, "Where is this from?" And then you did some digging.
Yeah, so, basically, I was like, "Okay, hold on, that sounds familiar." So I typed in Putman witches. That's it. That's what I searched. And, I scrolled a little bit because I don't have, AI enabled. Well, it probably is somewhere because 'cause they're hoarding it, it's everywhere, but I, uh, I found Putnam. So I was like, "Oh, maybe that's what we're thinking of." But when you go a little deeper, Putnam's is over time was changed to Putman. Like, it was a lot of times the Putnams, if you have a last name Putman, you can trace it back and potentially
Yeah,
see
because
that in a generation it was switched
Duff was
to
born in, like,
Putman.
1930s, so it could definitely have been switched by then.
Oh, yeah, it would have been switched, like, shortly after the trials
Yeah.
or at some point. I'm not there was a where is it? Hold on. This was So John Putnam emigrated to Salem, Massachusetts in 1634, and they're the accusers. They were the accusers of all the witches. They were not the actual witches, but I said to Sam yesterday, I said, my theory is that if you're gonna if you're gonna call people out for being witches, what better way to detract from your guilt? Now I'm not saying Duff was the incarnate of heathens or anything. I'm not saying that she, you know, it's just interesting. You guys are in Maryland,
Mhm.
and I don't know the fallout of the Salem witch trials or like over the course of history once we realized, oh shit, those were wrong, and you have the last name Putnam, we might move away
Yeah.
and maybe change the spelling a little bit. Now these are I'm
This is
hypothesizing,
all
but I
speculation. This is all,
it's all speculation. I'm making shit up. This is my best friend and her lore, okay? And until proven otherwise, this is where I'm going with. I'm hypothesizing. It was an interesting coincidence. And why don't you tell the listeners what you did that might give us some answers to this question?
I mean, like,
Ancestry kit, Sam.
huh?
The ancestry kit, Sam.
Oh, yeah, 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 no. Um, fucking the other day, like, right after Duff passed on Friday, like, I sat there after drinking my coffee, and I was, like, thinking really hard about, like, how if she hadn't written down in her, like, yearbook certain notes and shit, how, like, we wouldn't be able to put certain things together, and how, like, there's still certain lores about Duff, like, where the name Duff came from, like, stuff that we will never know because there's no one to tell it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I finally put in my ancestry test, so hopefully get some answers to, like, narrow down, like, who I'm related to, who's on here, I'm curious.
Yes, and that will provide also, more
And
things
yeah,
for us to talk about here. And I just wanted to correct myself really quick. It was Anne Putnam who was his great granddaughter who was the one who started accusing everybody. So Anne Putnam, I think, was a witch
yeah, which makes sense.
accusing accusing others.
Well, and you also gotta
But
think about
I'm
it
just
too, like,
assuming.
Duff is the Bailey side of my family, all the women that were surrounding her were the Lyons side of my family. So,
Mm.
even though Duff is a Putman, I don't know what the Lion side has to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you were feeling the energetic force from
Because Missy is
the
not a Bailey,
the
Missy's a lion, and
okay. The
yeah,
matriarchal line too, right? This is all on your
yeah.
mom's side?
This is all on my mom's side. This is
So
Anna's bloodline that
that's
so An
that's the ancient matriarchal energy that is has been completely disregarded, like, where everybody wants a boy, like, historically, everyone's like, "Oh, we need a boy to carry on the name," but really, like, it's the female, it's the
uh-huh.
girl that carries on that ancient DNA, that matriarchal DNA, like, the most powerful form of DNA, which I've mentioned this before, so that's the most powerful form. You are tapping into ancient energy charged
Yeah.
by grief and loss, but also love and
Mhm. And
memoriam and
especially, like,
celebration.
my mom and Missy are already very in tune to begin with, so, like, they're already, like, extra charged. Because my mom does the whole, like, light cleansing of rocks, so, like, when you hold a rock in your hand and you imagine, like, a small dot of light and it grows and it covers, like, the item, whatever you're holding with protection.
Mhm.
So, like, she
Okay.
practices that type of thing and, like, some other stuff too.
That's powerful. That's, oh my gosh, there's a name for that. Is that I don't know. It's not shadow work, light work.
I think
Um,
it's light work or something like that.
that's very cool though.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's my point is, like, they're very in tune to begin with, so you add me who's super empathetic and feels everything so intensely to the mix, and then who knows how my, like, aunt and my grandma, because like, they are not as open with that stuff, like
yeah,
but
but,
because of all that, it caused me to, like, really wanna tune into, like, my artsy side, which I have not, like, locked into in months. Like, it's been
yeah.
months since I picked up a sketch pad or a paintbrush or, like, even had the urge, like, I've been mostly just doing puzzles or, watch TV or, brain rotting, basically. And
I feel like the same in a lot of ways creatively,
it's like that funk that artists go through, you go through periods where you're
Mhm.
like, "Art, art, art," and then you go through periods where like, "Whoa, I need to, like, take a break."
Yep.
And sometimes those breaks last months, sometimes it's a couple weeks, it all kinda depends.
Yeah.
And the whole time during this process, all I wanted to do was paint, so, like, I finally Friday picked up a paintbrush and sketched out, like, an idea, and I know we talked about it in previous episodes, but when it comes to, like, it was caterpillar memories or something like that that we talked about?
Yeah, when I told the story of when I was in, like, ninth grade, I went up like, I got to class early, it was, like, my social studies class, and I went up to the front of the room, and I drew this caterpillar on the board with chalk while people were arriving, and it kinda looks like the hungry caterpillar. The hungry
Yeah.
caterpillar? Hungry caterpillar? But, then I sat back down and I stared at it, and I remember just thinking, like, "I'm gonna remember this." And I made it a memory that I kept, and so then throughout my life, I try to make these caterpillar moments where I frame it and remember it, and
Yeah.
that's what you're referencing,
Yeah,
yeah.
see, so I had the same experience when it came to, like, Tuesday night when we thought, like, it was gonna be the final night, before, like, because death was decreasing very rapidly. So it was, like, me, my mom, my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunt all chilling on the front porch, I'm smoking bowl after bowl, there's wine being drank, there's shots being poured. We're all just sitting there reminiscing and, like, just getting to know each other more in depth, and, like, now that I'm not a kid, they're telling me stories I didn't know about, and I'm getting to learn about, like, them when they were young and before kids were involved and, like, the shenanigans they used to do, and, like, that was a moment where I just sat back and I, like, just, like, blinked, and I was, like, thinking of it, like, as a screenshot in my head where it's like, I wanna take this moment and, like, encapsulate it forever because even though it was something so tragic we were dealing with, like, this was such a beautiful moment. So, when I got home and finally was able to sit down and, like, bring out my art stuff, what better moment to paint than the one, like, I captured in my head, and I wanna do it from, like, my first person perspective of, like, what I was seeing while I was sitting on the ground smoking my weed, like, what was around me, how everything was laid out, how people were looking.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm attempting. We'll see if I can do it.
Well, you're transmutating the pain of that experience, and you wanna hold on to it, because something else that we do when we're experiencing grief is our brain tends to erase the things that hurt us, so we
Mhm.
we don't remember. So while you're in it, you try to capture it. And this reminds me of when my mom died. Um, and she died in December of 2019, 2 days after I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And I was in Colorado, she was in New York, so I had to rush and get back to her. But I remember as I'm packing in a frantic haze, I I just like a robot brought my Rolleiflex camera
Yeah.
and rolls of, 120 film. And while my dad is standing at her hospital bed as she's on a ventilator, completely on life support, uh, the death rattle is there, but she's being I'm watching her breathe through a machine. She's bloated. She doesn't even look like my mom. I haven't seen her in 14 months. And I pick up my camera and I take a picture of my dad bowing his head, holding her hand. And I was like, I got to take a picture of it because I'm never going to be able to take a picture of my parents together again. And I know
Yeah.
I'm going to erase this if I don't. And everything I took a picture of, I remember, even though some of the film, like I don't remember where I put it because I was also in a haze and I was moving across country and going through a lot at that time.
100%, dude.
And I just remember, yeah, needing the urgency to just remember and to capture and to paint something, you're spending a lot more time in that moment. I guess with photography, like if I had went through the printing process in the darkroom, like each one I would be spending
Yeah.
time with. But it's that whole point is we use art. Like I was in so much pain. You were in pain. And we took that pain and we said, what can I do with it?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just going to sit here and I can't have it sit here. It's got
Yeah,
to
I
go
don't want it to
somewhere.
fester. It's more like I need to process it, and everybody processes grief differently. And yeah, like I cry too, but I need a way of making something sad beautiful. I need a way
Yeah.
of finding that silver lining. I need a way of finding a way to look at it and face it and be okay with it.
Yeah. Another example of transmutating pain is I photographed my mom's funeral flowers in setting sun, like in the back of my dad's truck in setting sunlight. As we were taking those funeral flowers, because she was buried on or not buried, her funeral was on Christmas Eve also, or like a couple days before Christmas. But then on Christmas Eve, we took all of her funeral flowers and passed them out as Christmas presents to people at our old person's home, at a retirement
Mm,
home. Um, and the looks of joy on their faces, and I photographed it. I took pictures of it on my
yeah.
Rolleiflex, and it was color film, slide film, so it's like bright and vibrant, and like the sun's coming through the windows. And these people are so grateful to be receiving these beautiful bouquets. And they're like, who are they from? Oh, they're from Santa Claus. Like they're from Everybody Who Loves You. Like
Yeah.
for them to be like, oh, I was thought of. It made me feel good even though I was walking like a zombie and feeling like my entire world had shattered. That was giving away a little bit of it, but it transmutated it. So it took something sad and made it beautiful.
And also take it as like, your mom is making them smile. Like you're watching your
Mhm.
mom make somebody smile like one last time. Because if
Yep.
not, like those flowers would have just sat around and died, and at least like somebody gets joy out of it. So something that reminds you of something so terrible, such
Mhm.
tragedy, brought
Well,
so
that
much
was
joy to others.
yeah, that was the thing. I literally was like, I cannot sit around and watch these die. That's like re-traumatizing. Like, what the fuck? So I was like, we got to give them away before I see that. So some of it was a little bit selfish. Some was like, get rid of these. But yes,
But
yes,
understandably so.
exactly.
Like you're allowed to have boundaries, like certain things are traumatizing, and I can't. Losing my grandmother is the equivalency I have losing like that motherly figure, so I couldn't imagine that pain. You know.
Well, surely,
That's what I'm saying, that's
surely,
the most equivalent I have, but it's still not my biological mom? Like, there's still
yeah.
that tie, that thing where, like, part of you is always in their freaking spine, like, DNA-wise,
Mhm.
so, like,
Yeah. That it definitely took a long time for me
100%.
to be okay
And
after that.
it's never gonna be okay. It's just more each day it becomes slightly a little tolerable, or like you're like us and you find like ways to honor and ways to look at signs and think that, damn, yeah, the situation sucks, but they're still here. They're still showing us they're here. They're still showing us we're doing a good job and that they love us and they care about us.
Yeah. Like you mentioned with like all the signs that there were family members and relatives among you guys saying goodbye to her, letting you guys know, hey, she's in good hands.
Mhm.
She's coming to us. Um, so we talk about art, and we talked about your painting. There's one last painting that I wanted to talk about my mom, because we talked about like turning a bad situation into a good situation. But what if the whole point that you're trying to make is to not make it good? Like, you don't want to make it good. You want to sit in that darkness for a little while. You
Yeah.
want to be
It's
angry.
whatever
You want,
emotion you're trying to, distribute to get out of yourself, but it's gonna be a constant reminder because that's what you're putting into that painting.
yes, that right there. So, when my mom was still alive, this was one of the last times I saw her, probably. Uh, Um, I was supposed to come home and my flight was late, and I had talked to my mom before I left from Colorado on the flight. Hey, you're gonna get me right? You're gonna pick me up? Yep, you're good. Okay. So I get on the plane, I get there. Nobody's at the airport to get me. Nobody's picking up. Mom's not picking up, dad's not picking up, brother's not picking up. No one's picking up. I wait for an hour and I call and I call. Now it's midnight or 1 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, no one's coming. So I get a taxi, because back then, actually there was probably Uber, but I got a taxi. Maybe I got an Uber, but I'm pretty sure it was taxi. I don't fucking know. I was going through it. I'm not sure. Uh, I cry the whole way there. I'm so I can't even. I was at my breaking point with my mom at this point. Uh, it was the realization that castles crumble. That's what it was. It was the glass ceiling had shattered that night. It was
That's a good
done.
way to
Like,
put that. That's a good way to put that. That's very beautifully said.
yeah. And I get home and the house is dark. Everybody is sleeping. I don't know where my dad is. Oh no, my dad was just sitting in the chair, drunk, watching TV. And I was like, "Dad, did you hear your phone ringing?" "Oh no, it's on the charger in the bedroom." I'm like, "Where's mom?" "Oh, she's sleeping." So I go into and I open the door. I like burst in. I slam this door open and I'm like, "Mom!" She doesn't move, but I can hear her breathing. She's snoring. And I just see this mass on the bed, and I see like the basic shape of the bed. I can kind of make out the scene. And I stand there and I just look, and she's just breathing, and I just fucking lose it. I shut the door. I shut it so the thing that I shut it so calmly, and I just said to my dad, I'm like, okay, all right, what the fuck am I gonna do? Be mad? I think Gabby ended up coming and picking me up, my friend Gabby, because she still lived. Shout out Gabby, fucking miss you. She still lived in our hometown at the time. Uh, but I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But what I do remember is taking her wine and her alcohol and just like I think her like just things.
Yeah.
And I ended up making this painting out of my other body fluids. We're not going to go into too much detail. All the darkness of the situation went into this, right?
Yeah.
Um, her cigarettes. Oh yeah, I took her physical cigarettes and I smashed them into the paint, and I poured the paint that I mixed with her wine and her rum, or other alcohol that I took.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was going to have a bad day when she woke up. That was probably not good for her. I was being cruel because I was hurt. And
Yeah.
it's,
Well, because it's the
at the time,
realization that, like, you weren't enough, like, her vices and whatever traumas and demons she was dealing with are overpowering, and you just weren't enough.
that's how I felt. Oh, and I took, because she was coughing up blood also at this time. And I was like, she needs to go to the doctor. She's
Yeah,
coughing up
something's
blood. And
wrong.
my dad's like, she will. She's taking care of it. Like, she goes to Dr. Alvarez. I'm like, okay, well, the fucking something's wrong. And I wasn't really, we didn't have a great relationship at this time, my parents
Yeah.
and I. But I
You're
still loved
making
them.
boundaries for yourself because it was
Yeah.
toxic and you were dealing with your own demons.
Yeah. Um, but when I got home, I painted an all black, and the black was only changed by what I mixed it with. and I used corks from her wine glasses that I ground up, her cigarettes, ashes, blood, my tears, my snot, like everything
Yeah.
into this painting, and I just was so fucking angry. And it's huge. This painting is huge. And I just left it in the garage. After I painted it, left it in the garage. It has been in the garage. It has been neglected. It is in my garage currently. It's covered in dust. As the years pass, it gets more and more caked. And I swear to God, when I look at that painting, I feel the charge. All the negativity, all of the sadness is in there
Oh, I believe
still.
it. 100%.
It makes me physically uncomfortable to look at that painting because it's big. So it's almost because she had shriveled to hardly anything at one point, and she could almost fit in that painting. That could almost be her. And
Yeah.
that's where it's just like, eh, you know?
Yeah, no, I
It
get
was from a
that.
really dark time in my life. And
You needed to get that energy out, and you did.
But that leads us into our next. I know that's really dark and I know that's really heavy, but so is any death in any family is heavy. And I'm not trying to take away from your loss, and your loss is recent. And I just want to sit for a second and make sure that the point of bringing this up is because you are reconnecting with your artistic side, and you're taking a sad, terrible situation and you're finding the beauty in it, and you're capturing that caterpillar moment, and that shows growth, and that shows healing, and that shows respect to your ancestors and to you as an artist.
Exactly.
um
That's the whole point of this
and
podcast.
yeah, and I think that's beautiful. But I also think it's important, and we're spooky bitches. And this is still Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. And those are our family lore stories. But now, just to back up all the things we've said, we say energy can be stored, right? It can be stored, and you can charge things. And I charge things all the time. You can actually capture invisible energy, like I electrocute things. Boom. You electrocute film, you see that shit. That's invisible energy. I mean, I physically see the spark, but you don't see the Lichtenberg figure or the actual lightning bolt. That's invisible when I'm doing it, but it appears on film. Or like static cling, static charges. You can actually capture static electricity. Um, there are like other artists who capture invisible energies. Radioactive fallout being captured. Um, this is this is something I'm not gonna talk about it, but I found out something, and next week I have an episode that I think is pretty cool.
All
And it
right,
has to do
yeah.
with radioactive fallout and film.
Oh,
So I'm gonna leave it at that. And that's gonna be next week. Or unless we come up with something cooler. But that, as of right now, I went down a rabbit hole while researching this week, and I was like, pocket that for next week. I just have to figure out how to relate it to my family tree. So once I do that, it'll be an episode. But this is gonna back up what we've said. We talked about the good. You had the good, right? Where you take something bad and you make it good. You transmutate that energy into a beautiful painting of memoriam. I took a bad situation and I wanted to capture and put all of that negativity into that canvas so I didn't have to carry it. But now the canvas carries it. And I say, that feels like it's alive now. It's like a snapshot of that sadness and all that anger. And I was in my 20s, young, didn't fucking have really good emotional regulation skills. So there's a lot of shit in that painting. But this has happened from time to time. And I'll post this painting. I was going to talk about a couple different paintings. So depending on how long this one takes, we'll see. But this was the one I wanted to start with because the story behind it is crazy. So I'm going to show it to you first, just to see what you say before I say anything, and
all right.
see if you have seen this before.
I have not seen that painting before.
Could you describe what you're seeing to the listeners?
It looks like a mummy almost, but like black eyes, mouth wide open, dead body-esque, kind of like the Scream, like the notorious Scream
Uh,
painting, but, like, not the
yeah,
same style.
by Edward Munch.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring him up because he's on the list of like some of the most haunted paintings as an artist. So,
Oh, wow.
uh, yes, that's just interesting that you bring that up. But yeah, so there's this. This is called The Anguished Man, and if you go to our Instagram, I will have a post up at midnight when this drops, so you can pause right now or keep listening. I mean, you can keep the tab open while you go, technically, if you're not listening on YouTube. So go to Instagram, and if you want to see it, you just pop a little heart. Just boop, just like our little post there. Maybe interact, try to get the algorithm to look at us because
Yeah, so it shares to your
it's just
friends,
nice.
shows us off a little
Because
bit.
yeah. And I'll also check it out. All the paintings and stuff we talk about will be here, including mine. Including mine. And Pants's if she'll share, which she will, right?
Yeah,
She's not at the
I
S.
can share the one I did on my grandmother who passed because that one's finished, and then when I finish the one
Oh,
for Duff, I'll share that one when it's done.
actually, yeah. We didn't talk about the one you made for Mimi on this episode, did we?
No, but I'm pretty sure we talked about it previously when we talked about, like, her death episodes and stuff, but I can actually, like, send you a picture of it.
Okay. That'd be awesome. And I'll talk about it in the description of the post. So, because that's another one. I feel like you should talk about that one.
If you want me to. Yeah.
Let's pause on the anguished man for a minute. We'll pick back up to this. But because this is more of a situation where why don't you talk? I'm not going to speak for
Yeah,
you.
no,
You
no,
because
you're
Mimi,
good.
to remind everybody, Mimi is her mother figure, kind of raised you
Yeah,
basically.
literally
So
my grandmother that raised me. So when she died, it was a more tragic event because I rolled up on the ambulance, obviously doing CPR on her and stuff. And that was kind of like my first experience with like a very traumatic death that like I could tell like the soul was gone and things of that nature. So when seeing everything that I saw, like the caterpillar moment that stuck in my head that time for that event was the lifeless look on her face and like the blues and the purples and the lack of breath. Like it just kind of instilled in my brain, burned in it. So when I finally got home and I was able to sit by myself, I did what I do, which is grab a fucking canvas and start painting. And I ended up painting like this very like pale, definitely like blue in color woman that you don't can't see her eyes because her eyes like the soul was gone. But you could definitely tell like she was lack of breath, but she was being carried up or held by like these butterflies that were these little canvases that I glued on top of the big canvas. And then I ended up attaching hemp string that I knotted at the bottom of the canvas, kind of made it look like 3D, like the paint dripping was coming out and becoming into like this rope figure. And yeah, like I said, I'll send a picture, so that way the fam can see it, but it helped a lot with my grieving process as like, a way to get that sad emotion and what I saw kind of out of my system.
yeah, you should send me like a little artist statement and then I'll make a separate post. I'll make these all separate posts. So each one, that way if you want to go and like and comment multiple posts and check them out instead of hiding them all in one, I'll do that. That way we can have your artist statement. Whatever you feel like sharing. It doesn't have to be super personal, but um it's crazy. Like you resent it to me and after not seeing it for a while, even a picture of it feels like it's popping out at you. But it's also very beautiful and uplifting. But there's also this feeling of you're muted, man. I do that too.
Adds like a feeling of like sadness to it still.
Yes. Yeah. And it's because the color choices and hearing you explain them and your reasoning behind it,
And like
it
the
makes it
background is like bright reds and blues, and that was kind of supposed to like represent like kind of like the blood through her veins that was like slowly like dying off and like it was a lot of, like, meaning behind it. I like butterflies was always our thing because when I used
yeah.
to sleepwalk as a kid, there was one time because she used to sleep out on the couch to make sure I wouldn't walk around or hurt myself, things like that,
Oh
and
my
she was
God.
sitting on the couch, and I walked by her, went straight to the front door, and she's like, "Samantha, where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm going to catch the butterflies."
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
don't know
there's
why that just
so
gave
much
me womp
meaning.
womp. That just gave me womp womp. Like that just reminded me of like Stephen King's It, like being lured.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna go catch the butterflies.
it
We
was
all
like
float
3rd grade.
here.
We were in 3rd grade and we were learning about different types of butterflies at the time. So, like, it made sense and connection why I was
Okay, okay.
dreaming of that.
Context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but butterflies have kind of always been, like, that thing, so I think that's why, like, I incorporated those into that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another example. Transmutation of pain. And that one's kind of both. There's some darkness and happiness in it.
Mhm.
Mine's all darkness. The other one, it's nostalgia. It's a little bit of both too. This one's dark. This one
Alright,
we're about to
let's
jump
get to the
into.
dark.
It's fucking crazy. You might have heard of this. If you're somebody who likes art and spooky stuff, you've probably heard of this. If you're not somebody who typically dives into haunted paintings, you might have never heard of this. But as we described, this is called the Anguished Man. And Sam described it as a mummy with a man, black eyes, mouth wide open. I don't know if it's a man because it doesn't really give you, I mean, it says it's the Anguished Man, so I guess it is a man. Just kidding. But the something I want to point out artistically, it's well done in my opinion because of the choice of colors. It's complementary colors. Like the background is blue, the front is like this orange, but there's also reds and yellows in it. So it's in a analogous color scheme in the front with a complementary background. There's a highlight in the center. There's a light source. Like I mean, it's well done. The brush strokes are chaotic. Um, it feels like this person who painted this knows what they're doing. They looked at the light source and they have some training here. Um, the background even like there's multiple colors in the background. Like there is even some red, but it's more like a rusty color. There's something very organic about it. The brushstrokes are almost like layered in a frenzy. It feels kind of like Van Gogh, which um yeah, Van Gogh has been known to create some spooky things too. Like this is a whole rabbit hole we could spend forever
Oh,
on.
100%.
But the picture of the painting that right here was taken by Sean Robinson, and Sean Robinson allegedly inherited this painting from his grandma, and this painting was given to his grandma by somebody that she didn't mention because it was stored in her attic for over 20 years, 25 years. And she was just creeped out by it. Like, she didn't like it. She never said who gave it to her. She just said it was a gift from a friend, which I feel like if somebody painted you this creepy ass painting, you'd remember who gave it to you. If you put it in your
Yeah,
attic
you're
for
not wrong.
25
Yeah, like,
years,
you were afraid of it, obviously you knew about it.
like who gave it to you? Who painted this? And I guess actually she did tell us a few stories about the painting and where it came from. Um, but she was like, I hate that painting. That shit's evil. It's been in my attic. I don't want it. Um, so where is it? Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Um, she said that it was given to her by a friend, but that the friend didn't actually paint it. It was given to her, just the friend thought that she might like it. And the friend informed the grandmother that the artist allegedly, shortly after painting this, committed suicide. Trigger warning. I'm sorry. Jesus. I do that. I'm sorry. So I'll put it in the show notes. Trigger warnings. It's gonna be a lot of random trigger warnings, I think. That the only one? I don't know. Our entire series, like our whole show is a trigger warning because it's
Yeah, you're not
anything.
wrong with that.
Yeah. So, um, but allegedly this was painted with oil paint, and the artist used their own bodily fluids, such as blood, to paint it. So the rusty orange organic color shifts. Like if you layer on blood that's been diluted with water and mixing medium at different levels, it will oxidize in different colors. It's the
That's wild.
natural, yeah, the natural organic process of it. So when I look at this painting, I see a man that's been burned
Mm,
alive. Like I
yeah,
look at
I
that
can
and I'm
see
like, oh
that.
my God, he's been burned alive. His nose is almost completely gone. He's screaming. And like there's still like smoke
Yeah,
like puffing in the background. And you can see the muscles. Like, that's what I'm seeing. I see, like, his whole, or somebody who's been skinned,
Yeah.
like, their skin's been peeled off. Like, it's a dark-ass painting. Like, why would anybody gift this to somebody? Unless, like, you're a horror fan who likes creepy things, who, like, was, like, randomly one day at tea, "Man, I'm really looking for a fucked up painting to put in my study. I
For
wish I
sure.
had a friend who could find me a fucking, I just want to feel disgusting looking at it, you know?" Then I could see why this would be gifted. But yeah, the artist is not identified. And so Sean Robinson, said the grandson who inherited it, was like, "Oh, I don't believe in haunted shit, so I'm just gonna take it and put it in my house." Because I guess he liked the painting, which, whatever. If honestly, I would probably, if my grandma had a weird ass painting like that in the attic and she was like, "That's haunted, I don't want it," I'd probably be like, "I'll take it." I honestly probably would be, but I would definitely think it was haunted.
You
And
100% would.
I would be very fucking careful. I would sage it. I would not bring it in my house, but I would take it. And I'd be curious about it. Definitely. And if it looked like that, I just have to admit, yeah, I'd probably have done the same thing. Um, but shortly after he put it in his house, he started hearing like screaming in the walls, like distantly, but also loud at the same time. Um, People talking or crying, like a man. Like, it always seemed like if you walked into a room, in one of the corners, there was somebody like facing the corner and crying quietly to themselves. Like, as he, only after he got the painting. Um, so shortly after he started hearing the crying, him and his wife started to see like a dark figure going from room to room. So then they start seeing shadow figures and then other strange noises like creaking or like laughing, but like sad laughing, like when somebody laughs when they're not actually happy. Um, and to the point where his wife was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna sleep in that house. I'm not gonna be in there if that painting is there. So get rid of it." And he was like,
Oh, wow.
how about
That's fucking
instead?"
crazy.
Yeah. Um, this is a quote from Sean Robinson about the anguished man. He said, quote, "We have heard crying coming from the corner of our bedroom. We started seeing the dark figure standing at the bottom of the bed, just apparently staring at us. It seems to be a middle-aged man, but his features are not very clear. His wife was so frightened that she refused to stay in the house." Um, so it was so crazy in their opinion, to the point where they reached out to paranormal investigators. Um, and I've never heard of Mysteria Paranormal, but that's a paranormal investigators, Ian Lawman and John Blackburn. And they've apparently visited a bunch of haunted places because they're ghost hunters. So, and paranormal investigators, excuse me. I think ghost hunter sounds way cooler, but paranormal
I do
investigators
too.
sounds cool as well. I would rather be a ghost hunter. I want to hunt the ghosts. Um, I guess they Sean Robinson reached out to them, and I guess he brought this painting to Chillingham Castle, which is one of the most haunted places in the entire world. And I remember this Chillingham Castle on the show with the narrator. It sounded like this. Do you remember that? Chillingham
Yes,
Castle,
yes, dude, I
England's
do.
most haunted location. Like, that was the narrator. Fucking terrifying. And yeah, that shit was crazy. I was also 10, but it's scary. Um, and I guess all of them experienced crazy shit happening to the point where it seemed like all the ghosts in the castle were trying to like attack the painting and get the entity that was trapped in the painting out of it. Um, and I quote, "It was on the evening of 18 May, 2013, at Chillingham Castle that a group of people experienced events that were both terrifying and unexplained. None of the guests were prepared for what was about to happen in the early hours of Sunday morning. The room went icy cold when a large, dark figure appeared in the middle of the seance circle." Oh, they were having a seance. That'll do it every time, you guys. Yeah. this might not have anything to do with the painting. This might have to do with you doing a seance at Chillingham Castle, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not advocating for the devil, I'm just playing his advocate. Um, a large wooden bench banged on the floor of its own accord in response to John Blackburn's questions to the painting. Then, suddenly, the bench was flipped upside down violently by what was believed to be John Sage, one of Chillingham Castle's resident powerful spirits, who we think was showing his anger to a foreign, uninvited spirit in his castle. End quote. So, I just thought that was interesting. But anybody who walks up to this painting, I've also will have nightmares, like experience nightmares, or like get these like racing thoughts in their head, heart palpitations, like physical changes or shifts when looking at this painting. So, no fucking thanks. And that's it. That's
Yeah,
the
no,
story of the
yeah,
Anguish Man.
no. That's fucking crazy. It kinda reminds me of, like, the Annabelle doll, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. This is like a common motif throughout not just like paintings, but items, things being haunted, haunted objects, haunted paintings.
Yeah.
Um, I I definitely think we could trap energy in places. Do I know how to do that? Uh, I guess I was gonna say no, but apparently painting that I made of my mom sleeping feels pretty charged, but that's because it's an emotional connection to me. I don't know if anybody who looks at that would get an emotional charge out of it. Maybe they would. I don't know. But I definitely when you paint a face like that, it's hard not to feel something. And just to add to the mystery that the supposed painter passed away after painting that is kind of terrifying. So, but yeah, that was the first one on the list, and
Okay.
we're at 56 minutes. So I think I will just pocket these and we'll talk about more haunted
Yeah.
paintings when they connect to for future topics.
Hell yeah,
So,
dude.
um, but if you guys have any stories about experiencing haunted objects, haunted places are just big objects.
Or, like, if you guys wanna share any ways that you personally deal with grief that are, like, good suggestions for others to try, like, yes, we might deal with
Mhm.
our grief with painting, but if you have anything else that you do that make it easier for you know, I'm willing
Yeah.
to give anything a try.
Yep. So we just wanted to come on here today and honestly talk try to talk through a
What's
hard
going
time for
yeah, just
Sam.
you know,
Yeah.
our podcast is unique for the fact that we stay current in what's going on in our lives. We don't conform to any type of structure that has to do with certain same topics, you know, like, we talk about what currently is going on with our current history and how it relates to our past history, and
Yep.
I think that's a very powerful thing.
Yep. And I like to throw spooky stuff in
Oh,
there
fuck yeah, we have
because
to.
it's yeah, it's lighthearted and it adds for me it's like I can't disprove that these spooky things aren't real. And so I'm gonna acknowledge them. I'm going to not just humor them, but I'd rather believe that there's something after than just walk daftly through life being like there's nothing afterwards and then the
Yep,
moment I die being like, oh shit. There's a lot more I could have done to prepare myself for this after. So I'm just gonna
100%.
be prepared. So um and it also makes me feel less sad about those that are no longer with us. And I'm really glad that your great grandma Duff got 90 years on this earth and that she was surrounded by people who loved her and stories were told and a celebration was had and energy was shared. And I am fairly certain that once you get your ancestry back, we're going to get some answers
Oh,
about
yeah.
the lion ladies. Ooh,
Lion ladies.
damn. Those are my final thoughts. What about yours?
I mean, my final thoughts are it's just death can be tragic. It always hurts, no matter who it is or the situation that it is. But even in the toughest times, try your hardest to find the silver lining, the beauty, make those caterpillar moments and get the best out of any situation that you can.
Yeah. And never stop asking yourselves, who
Who
are
are you?
you? Me.